for that wonderful applause. My name is Vanessa Rauland and I'm the founder and CEO of ClimateClever. I've spent the last 10 years at Curtin University as a researcher and lecturer in the field of climate change, sustainability and decarbonising cities. ClimateClever is an app-based program that helps schools and their communities to reduce their carbon footprint and save money on their utility bills. Our vision is for the youth to lead the way in creating a low-carbon future. The idea for this formed around 7 years ago when I was doing my PhD, and I helped to certify the first carbon neutral school in Australia. That school's gone on to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on their utility bills. They've dramatically reduced their carbon and environmental footprint, and they've educated their students and the community around climate change, sustainability and resource efficiency. And while we know that schools aren't the biggest producers of emissions, the thing that really stood out for me was this realisation that by targeting schools and those kids taking that knowledge home, there's a huge potential to influence and educate the wider population, a huge segment of society. So we did some market research and some background research, and we found that schools across the country are ageing and becoming increasingly inefficient and costly to run. And because schools don't often get access to this data, they don't know how they perform. So we've created a strategic and structured process and framework for schools to increase their performance. And perhaps most importantly, we've created a perfect tool for schools to embed sustainability and STEM, so science, technology, engineering, maths, which are core national priorities for schools, into the curriculum and enable them to use their buildings as a living laboratory to teach these important subjects. We started off with a low carbon schools pilot program, which was very low cost and low tech. That was our MVP. We did that with 15 schools in Perth, Western Australia. We used Excel spreadsheets to measure their progress. And we used Google Docs to create their carbon reduction action plans, which teachers very quickly pointed out had an unfortunate acronym. But based on that program, these schools identified huge inefficiencies in their schools and massive opportunities as well. And on average, we saved them around $30 per student across their utility bills, and we also helped them reduce their carbon footprint by 20% per student. And it was at the end of that pilot that more and more schools were approaching us saying, can we join your low carbon schools program? So at that time we thought, well, we've got a working prototype there and we've got paying customers, so we bit the bullet and we started creating what is now a beautiful, engaging, data-driven and highly intelligent app. It's designed to be led by students and predominantly led by students, and we've developed curriculum resources for the teachers as well. So the program's now available to all 9,500 primary and secondary schools in Australia, and in the future to millions of schools worldwide. It's based around 3 modules, 3 interconnected modules: measure, audit and action. I guess part of the unique part of this is that it's a process that takes them through that whole journey from measurement all the way through to implementation. The measure module tracks their progress and they can compare themselves immediately to other schools. The audit tool allows the students to run around the whole school and count all their energy and resource consuming appliances and compare that data again to other schools. But the secret sauce is really in the action module, which uses the data from the previous 2 modules, as well as the growing database of actions that all the participating schools are doing. And it provides, and using machine learning, predictive analytics and AI, it provides tailored tips and advice for schools based on their own priorities and unique characteristics. We look at electricity, gas, water and waste, but in the future it's very easy for us now to add more emission sources in there as well. We use a SaaS business model, charging $8 per student on an annual subscription, and as I mentioned, we've been able to save $30 per student, so there's an average payback of 3 months, so it's really a no-brainer. Over the last 3.5 years, we've raised over $1 million through revenue, grants and research funding. We're super excited to be releasing a home version of that and a small business, which is linked to the schools. So now we've actually got a way to quantitatively measure that impact the schools are having on the community. And this data is really important for our local governments, who are our biggest channel partners. And they partner with us and they subsidise schools to participate in our program. And in return, they get access to that quantitative data, which they use to meet their own carbon reduction KPIs and meet the reporting for climate change platforms. And there's more than 60 councils that have now declared a climate emergency, so this is fantastic news. We received our initial seed investment this year of $250,000, and we won a $350,000 grant to build a tailored home version specifically for low-income households. I have an outstanding team. My co-founder and CTO, Alexander Karan, has more than 10 years of web development experience. I often say I bring the climate, he brings the clever to the business. And we've got a brilliant team who work tirelessly with us to help make this work. you've no doubt seen this momentum for climate action building rapidly across Australia, being led by our youth. So we feel that we're perfectly positioned now to scale rapidly, to become market leaders and to make a huge impact on this critical issue. We're looking to raise again right now. If you want to be on the right side of history, and come and join us help Aidan, one of our ClimateClever students, to change the future of the world. And if any of you have kids in your room, please go and tell your schools about ClimateClever. Thank you.